To make stuff look realistic, we have to blend everything better together. So the first thing of blending is obviously like we did with the grass to make the object look like it's in the real world that we created. Other thing that we have to do is to work on the lighting. So the lighting is the same everywhere in the image, and also the colors and also the quality of the images. The quality doesn't really matter here because everything is like a bit in the background, so it might be blurred out a bit. Okay, let's work a bit on the colors. So the colors here, you can see here we have like this dune grass, which is yellowish. Our plane here is a bit more bluish. So I'm gonna click on the plane rec, and I'm gonna go down here to select adjustment layers, and I'm gonna select hue and saturation. Now, the best way to blend things together with the color is to get rid of some colors. If you getting rid of colors, you blend them better together. If you make this everything black and white, it's gonna look instantly like it's all together. But we don't want to make it black and white. We want to have colors in this. So I'm gonna remove some color from this first. You probably won't even notice it, but remember to do that. Remove some saturation from it. Now, the next thing to do is to let's press this, and don't forget to press this because we only want to affect the plane. Don't want to affect the whole image. Now let's create a new adjustment layer, and this time I'm gonna select color balance, and with the color balance we can adjust the colors. So if you want to make this plane more red, we can move this to the right. You can see here it gets all red. If you want to make it blue, more to the left. Now we obviously want to make it a little bit more yellowish because we have this Doomgrass yellow. So I'm gonna move this one around. You can see here I'm moving this a bit to the yellow. Not too much, just a bit to blend this better together. Now let's close this. This is fine. Now it's time to make sure we use folders because we're getting a lot of layers now and we can get confused to what is. So we want to place every subject in one folder with all the adjustments of that subject. So first of all, let's hold down shift while having this plane rec selected, and let's click these three layers that we have. And then we click on the group here on the map like that, and it's going to make a group. If we double click on this, we can change the name to plane, and this will be our plane. And every time I click on this folder, I can move the whole thing around to another place in our image. Maybe you want to have it there or something. You can easily move it. Now let's do the same for the boy. This is boy. It's only one layer, so it doesn't go in this group. So I just select this layer and drag it inside this group, and I can close it, open it if I want to edit it. Let's do the same for the dog. Drag it there, and you can disable enable it if you want to see it. And let's do the house. This is our house. Let's move it inside the house. And grass we have here. And we have our moon. And the mountains. Let's call this background. Oh. Now, if you want to have it really organized, you can also press right mouse and give it a color. I don't really do that, but sometimes people like to do that. So maybe you want to do that, but I'm okay without colors. Now, let's start with also blending the image better together with the lighting. So first of all, we have to define where is our light source. Our light source is our moon. So you can see here the background, the mountains have light on the left side. So we want to make sure the moon is on this side because the light comes from this side. I think it's even from the sun, but whatever. We will change the colors later on. So let's place obviously the moon on the left side because it's reflecting the light. We can see the background here, the lighting is there. Don't want to place it there. Let's place it on the left side. Let's make it a bit smaller. All right, let's work on the lighting of the other images. Let's start with the house. So I'm gonna click on the house, and to change the lighting of stuff, we use curves. So I'm gonna create a curves adjustment layer on top of the house. Don't forget this, so we only affect the house. Let's move this a bit there. And let's take the highlights and bring this down. You can see here we made the house darker. Let's first make everything a bit darker, like the background. Something like this, it's pretty dark. Let's do the same for the grass. Curves. Click this. and make it dark. And you can already see it looks a bit more real. Now let's move on to the boy. Curves. Click this, bring the highlights down. Try to find the same range for the darker tone. So something like this is fine. And obviously the plane. Curves. Bring it down. Well, you can see it. Something like this. And also the dog. Curves. Bring it down. All right, everything is super dark now, but that's good because we are going to make stuff lighter now. So let's close these folders. Let's start with the house. Let's select the house here that we have and click on the mask of it. So not the layer, the mask. Now go to your brushes again, the brush tool, and this time we want to select a normal brush, not the grass brush. So let's scroll up all the way here and select the normal soft round brush. Now let's make sure we have hardness at 0, so we have a soft brush, and let's leave the opacity flow at 100 and make sure to select this. And then make sure to, oh sorry, I mean this one from the mask of the dark color that we made, right? So select this one and let's select the black brush, and you can see here if we select the black brush and we brush over it, it's going to make it light. So we want to brush some areas lighter. We have our light source here, our moon. So this part obviously will get a bit lighter because it's going to get light from the moon. So let's brush there and maybe a bit here. And that's pretty much it. This is the only part that's going to get some light. Maybe this roof also here, a bit light. So if you want to do this precisely, make your brush a bit smaller and brush these parts lighter like that. And this is already, I think this is enough light for this. All right, now let's move on. We have our first lighting created. This is really easy, as you can see. Let's move on to our next subject. So let's go to the plane. Let's open up the plane and let's find the layer that's making this thing darker, the curves here. You can enable disable it just to find it. Click on the mask of it, zoom in, and let's eventually not zoom in so we can see this better with this moon. And let's do the same for this plane. And you can see here our plane gets lighter. So you have to think a little bit which area is going to get light if it's coming from there. Probably the top part because the moon is in the sky. So the top part will be lighter like that. Just like that. And also, oh, let's zoom in here. Also this part, also top part. And probably a bit less here. So if you want to do this precise, let's bring the opacity down here. And let's do a bit here. So make a bit softer edges here. So I'm bringing the opacity down. And let's do a bit here. Because we have like this round corners on this plane. So we do some parts lighter, some parts darker, like that. And this already is lighter. Now, this is a bit too light, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another curves layer on top of this. So let's create curves again. And let's make this a bit darker so we can make the whole thing a bit darker. I think it's too light. Let's see. Let's make this a bit darker like that. And this is already better. Now we have also our dog here. Let's also do the dog. Let's click on the mask here. And let's also brush. The dog obviously on this side because we have the moon on this side and a bit of top part, maybe a bit of a space here. And just like that. That's already better. Now the dog is a bit too red. So I'm gonna create a hue saturation here. And make sure this is selected so we will affect the dog. And let's bring the color down. I don't want to have this orange color. It doesn't look real. Something like this. All right, let's see. Let's move on. Now, let's take this boy and Let's also brush some parts of him lighter. He's really dark now. So I'm gonna click on the mask again, select the black brush, make it a bit bigger. And let's bring the opacity up to 100 again. And let's start with brushing him lighter. We have the moon on the left side, so we're gonna make sure the left side of his face is lighter, left side of his clothing, like that. Be a bit more here in the front so he doesn't get too dark. He also has a flashlight, so we can even make this a bit lighter. Let's also do here. Oh, that was a bit too much, just a bit here. Just like that. And we already have this better blended in this image. Now, also this boy has a bit too much color for this time of the day, so I'm gonna create the hue and saturation also for this boy and bring the saturation a bit down. All right, and this looks already a lot better than we had before, but it's still not done yet, so we need to move on now.